There's Synthrones. Today I want to talk about the Iridium Keyboard from Waldorf. I know that last week we had a big week on just about everything was Behringer. They were making a lot of news, announcing plans for new synthesizers and concepts for new synths. I know it was a hectic week for Behringer, and I devoted that entire week to them. Going to be doing some more in the future, but I thought today I would take a break and talk about the Iridium Keyboard, which is pretty much a lot like the Iridium module, which I own. I also, in the past, had the Quantum from Waldorf with the analog filter that was mono. The Iridium line at this point does not have analog filters, and I think that's kind of a shame. I think that they should have took this opportunity, this is just my opinion, to add some analog filtering into the keyboard version and give us a little bit more than just a repackaged Quantum, which the Iridium and the Quantum are kind of different in some ways. One of them being the fact that you have an analog filter in the Quantum with 8 voices max for polyphony. The Iridiums have 16 voices, and they have all digital filters. So the main difference that I see between the Iridium module and the keyboard is, well, basically there's no keyboard on the module, of course. But you're going to lose modulation and glide controls. When you go to the keyboard, you're going to lose 4x4 pad structure, where you can go ahead and just do one button chords, sequences, arpeggiations. You can launch all of those on the module. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do with those pads. The keyboard on the Iridium keyboard version has poly aftertouch. But once you get past all of that, you basically have a repackaged Iridium, and I don't think you quite reach a Quantum because you don't have those analog filters. And my feeling on it is that the analog filters are really important. It's just that they made it mono in the Quantum, and I couldn't get past the sound in stereo just being squeezed into this, what I call pseudo stereo. And I didn't like that sound on the Quantum. And so I thought that I would get rid of that and get myself the 16 polyphony Iridium, which I really do like. There is so much power under the hood of one of these synthesizers. It's almost mind-boggling. I have referred to this as a big VST in a box. To me, nearly every digital synth out there is pretty much a VST in a box. It's just, what does that box do for you? How do you interact with it? How does it fit into your studio and your workflow? Some people like to buy things that are hardware based, even though you could replicate them easily in software. And I know I've said this in the past, but it just needs to be said again. When it comes to digital synthesizers that do not have analog filters to them, you really can get by just getting a software equivalent to it and getting pretty much the same thing. Unless you're someone like myself who likes to take these digital hardware synths and run them through preamps, compressors, or any other kind of an effect or pedal, anything that might be going, to change the texture, the sound, the character of the sound itself. If you like playing with hardware, if you like the flow, then it would be a necessary thing for you to buy one of these digital synths. And so when I expand into the analog world of synthesizers, I realize that there is just so much difference between the analog and the digital. Neither of it is good nor bad. It's just a give or take thing. It's what you want. Sometimes, though, I do get buyer's remorse when I buy digital synthesizers that have nothing in the analog department to offer, simply because I know that I can pretty much achieve the same goals in software. With analog, in my opinion, okay, this is my opinion. When it comes to analog, there's just something rich and different about analog that is so alive and so moving and so characteristic. There's just this thing about it. And I got to be honest, the Iridium plays really nice when you put it up against analog synthesizers. And I was really surprised how good it would sound in a mix and how it could cut through. There have been some situations where I've had to scrap the Iridium, an Iridium sound, out of a track simply because it wasn't cutting through. And it had nothing to do with the note that was being played or the octave or the range. It just basically, the sound just wasn't cutting through. And I could take those same notes that were played and run it through an analog synth and actually have it cut through. That's been a very rare situation. But yes, the Iridium is a really nice synth. If you need the polyphony of 16 voices, you're going to have a lot to work with the Iridium. And the keyboard is going to give you that access to the keyboard and the aftertouch capabilities that some people absolutely love to have. But these are my thoughts on the Iridium, but I do want to touch on one more thing here, and I said this in a Behringer video that I did last week, and that is the Iridium right now, at the time of this video, is going for $3,799.99. So let's just say it's going for $3,800. Now, I remember getting my Quantum for less than that brand new when it first came out. And if I had to pick again between a Quantum keyboard and a Iridium keyboard, I think this time around I would go with the Quantum. But now that has gone up as well. That has gone up to a whopping $4,800 rounded up. $4,800 now for an 8-voice Quantum. And I don't know all the specifics as to why all the prices have gone up. You and I both know that there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now affecting prices. I do believe that by the end of this year, we are going to see prices go even higher, not just with Waldorf, but with all synth companies. In fact, I do speak with synth companies here and there, and a couple of them have already told me to get ready for even a larger price hike. If I had to pick out of all the current Waldorf synthesizers that are new on the market right now, and that would include the Waldorf Kyra, the Waldorf M wavetable versus the Iridium or the Quantum, right now, as things stand, I would rather either get an Iridium, which I currently own, or I would get a Quantum if I wanted and felt I needed the analog filter for that. If somebody was to tell me they had, the money to buy any one of the Waldorfs, I would tell them to go with it, either an Iridium or a Quantum, in my opinion. I had the Kyra. It is a great synth. There's nothing wrong with the Kyra, but I had a lot of problems getting it to cut through on a mix with my analog setup that I have here. But remember, I've got some real power horses in my studio, and I like to fill my tracks up as much as I can. So sometimes I'm not always mixing as great as I should, and the Kyra needed some help cutting through in some parts more often than other synths that I had. But again, the Kyra is a digital synthesizer, and there's not much you cannot do with a Quantum or an Iridium. So when the line of Waldorf is discussed and people ask me, they message me, which one would you get out of the Waldorf line? I always tell them, if I had to pick right now, in that price range, sub 3,000, I would pick the Iridium. If I had a little bit more money that I felt like spending, I think I do kind of miss the Quantum, but I don't miss it enough to pay $4,800 for it. But those are my thoughts on Waldorf and the Iridium keyboard. What do you think? Leave a comment below. I am Pure Ambient Drone. Hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, and until next time, keep calm and synth on.